super excited today. We're launching Mission Authenticated Intelligence, and this is a first in the world. And the one thing I'm convinced of is we will change the way people interact in the world. We will change the way people interact on the internet. We will change the world for the better. And that's more important than anything else about what we've been doing at BlockCerts. This is a life goal for me. I've been at this now for 25 years next year. And in the blockchain business, since I first started exploring Bitcoin and blockchain for a decade this year. So let's get started about what all that time was about. But before I do that, just right before our webinar, there was a webinar from MIT. There's a book, I'll show you the cover in a minute, but there's a book called Data Monetization is Everybody's Business. And the thing that hit me the most about that, or I'll give you some stats from that book, but the thing that hit me the most as I was listening to these four professors that had been working on this is the professor that was talking, the woman that was talking, said, I've been at this for 29 years. And I'm like, wow, I'm pretty fast actually. So with that, let's get started about what a 25-year journey to reinvent the internet and really actually make data everybody's business is about. We are launching today MaiaChat. If you haven't joined our Telegram channel, go join it now. Just within the last 10 minutes, I took Maiaichat bought up MaiaChat on that channel. I'm going to explain to you the different knowledges and the different types of MaiaChat. We call that Maiaichat, Maya Lite internally. So it doesn't know everything, and I'll tell you about that too. We will talk about all of this stuff. It was easy, and there's a short on YouTube now. Got posted yesterday where I said it was relatively easy to get involved in crypto, especially when I started in 2013. Bitcoin was at between 10 and 50 cents. And go watch that. I mean, when we posted it, 539 people viewed it within a couple of hours. I was shocked. And I guess that's really where we're at in the world today is I think there's this massive desire to see something different. Today, you're going to see what different looks like. You're going to see the next internet. You're going to see how we did it. I'm going to explain it. And it's completely live today. Pointing out how live it is, we have MultiSig that we're using right now. Thanks to our Chief Security Officer and our IT Officer, Jules and Leonzi. I mean, there's so many people involved in this that have made this possible. Peter, who is our chief data scientist, absolutely brilliant guy, helping us bring Maya as this unique model of AI. So all of this exists at BlockCerts today, people working tirelessly, and I mean tirelessly. I know James didn't go to bed last night. I barely did. So we really are committed to this. And if you join us as a BCERT token holder or have joined us, know that we're not going to sleep until this mission is accomplished. And probably not even then. We're just too excited about what we can do to make this important change in the world. BlockCerts has created BlockCerts AI Blockchain. And in a nutshell, there it is. Behind every one of those things on this line, you're seeing an actual live function. And behind a BCERT token, what's behind a BCERT token? The entire decentralized internet. Now let's talk about what the word decentralized means, because it's thrown out there all the time. Decentralized. What does this actually mean? What is ink? ink commerce, vault certain. Let's face it, the blockchain industry technology has always been filled by jargon that's really confusing. And it's that jargon that geeks get, that guys like us and our team gets, that was thrown out there, and people are going, it sounds good, it sounds interesting, it sounds powerful. And in fact, it was in the blockchain industry, which went from 0 to $3+ trillion and created a market. When I saw that happening in 2016, I looked at it and I said, it's not going to work for business. It's not going to work for transfers. You can't afford the exchange. So what we started to do was build things based on real business economics. That's called inkonomics. We created vaults. We created a way that we could truly decentralize this. And today we are launching our own, not today, within the next month or 60 days, we're launching our own auction trade exchange. But our auction trade exchange actually already allows these BCERT token holders, and many have done this, to, on a decentralized basis, no fraud FTX possible, no Coinbase is needed to transfer your tokens. It's complete independence. Once you have your tokens, it's independent of me. Everything starts out a little bit centralized. Now, let's talk about centralization. Let's talk about blockchain. Let's talk about AI. We hear this stuff about AI being super scary. It is. We created MAIA, Mission Authenticated Intelligence for AI. The first time I said that, I was sitting with the Prime Minister of Canada, with a small group of people from MIT, and we were talking about artificial intelligence and blockchain, of all things. And when we were talking about that, I said, we were actually having a debate between the AI guys and me. I was the only blockchain guy in the room. We also talked about quantum computing, and the Prime Minister said, we want AI to be the leader, Canada to be the leader in AI. And I said, Mr. Prime Minister, let's make sure it's authenticated intelligence and not artificial ignorance. And the way we can do that is with blockchain. From 2018, when I got my certification in AI at MIT, I started on that mission. I'm proud to announce that MAIA is live today. You can start with MAIA, and I'm going to show you a little bit about MAIA and explain it in a moment when we get into the next part of this presentation. We've created knowledge blocks. What you use on Telegram, if you go join our Telegram channel, what you use on Telegram will have a certain knowledge block. In many cases, MAIA will say, I don't know, or it'll say, I'm not authorized. That doesn't happen with ChatGPT. It just doesn't. You will control your own knowledge blocks in your private AI future from here. And you will have your own bot creator, and it will know only your stuff and what you want to make public with public-private keys and domain certain. You'll be able to do that. We've got this brilliant group of people building out that have been working with us now to build out, based on Chromium is what it's called, our own browser. It's this incredible browser. It's incredibly powerful because it blocks tracking, it blocks ads, it blocks malware. It enables you to do a ton of things you want to do in private on the web. And guess what? Google stuff is great. If you want to be reminded or remembered, it will keep that content for you too, but privately. And anytime you need to log in, I'm a YouTube premium subscriber, but I can't use my premium account. I can't even comment on a podcast or a video if I'm not engaged with YouTube. So I can log in. The next thing we did is we said these wallets. What is a wallet? What do we have in our wallet? Our physical wallet. What we have is our IDs. We have our money. We have all this stuff. When you need to go through security or you need to go on a trip, you pull out your passport wallet. All of that stuff, it's on your mobile device. It's literally everywhere. And when we did that, we gave you this ledger of every transaction that only you have. So guess what happened? When we built that browser and we built a tool called SearchCERTin, you can see all those transactions, but only you, humans, that have the private and public key can unravel those numbers to show what you want to show when you want to show it. It's quite amazing. We've worked extremely hard with our UX team and everybody to make it quite easy. And our BC auction trading engine is going to empower small businesses to do things they must do and break them free from the constraints of getting capital, just like our BCERT token holders have done for us over this period of time. That's what's behind a BCERT token. So far, if that wasn't enough, and I think that's pretty incredible, we've pulled this off. We have this idea of artificial intelligence or authenticated intelligence smart contracts. Our brilliant blockchain team, led by Abdel and Jules and Gustavo and a number of people, have created these certifier contracts. That's where we started. We started with KYC. As far back as 2019, we were the only company to embed KYC on the blockchain with a company called Refinitiv. If you don't believe this idea of what I started out with, data is everybody's business, monetization, let me tell you this. Refinitiv is a database company that was owned by Thomson Reuters, now owned by the London Stock Exchange, in a $27 billion acquisition back in 2019 when we were doing the first embedding of the blockchain. To my knowledge, we're the only people to have ever done that. NFTCERTin, we saw what happened in the NFT market. It blew up. It was littered with fraud. At one point, OpenSea said 80% of all of the NFTs are fraudulent. Now, most of those NFTs, the billions of dollars that went in, are worthless. That didn't define what this technology can do. TrackCERTin, DAOCERTin, the semi-autonomous organization, MultiSig wallet, all of these things mean something in today's economics. All of them do. And we're going to transform industries, entire industries, by enabling that, and we are doing it in some of the greatest industries in the world: art, music, insurance, digital carbon credits. We're working with these companies all over. And then we said, okay, well, if that's not enough, how do we make sure it's truly embedded, authenticated intelligence? We created domains. Domains have been around since the dawning of the internet, but so many are fake. So many are inactive. So many are cyber squatted. So many can lead you in the wrong direction. That's how malware and cybersecurity starts. That, and 94% of all malware is passed through a 53-year-old technology called email. So we're on a mission called Email Must Die. And it must. It is time to disrupt and eliminate a communication tool that puts us all at risk. And it is time to create authentication in every site you ever visit. So far, I've showed you this. And you know what? The amazing thing is, one BCERT token, which is currently at retail value $10, gets you all of it. All of it. That's 80 cents a month. Anybody in the world can afford this. And why is that important? There's this idea of super apps. What are super apps? What is a super app platform? Well, we're not familiar with them that much in the United States, North America, even Europe. But in Asia, they're incredibly powerful apps. The biggest one that started out in China was Alipay, but very quickly, a super app called WeChat emerged. And this was around 2016, 2017. And what happened was that super app can literally do anything. They can build through little hubs, businesses can build, tie in, and literally people can do everything they need to do with one app. So in 2016, when I started BlockCerts and I saw that, I said, that's what we're going to do for the Western world's internet. We're going to let every business owned this. But unlike in China and some of the countries that have these giant centralized super apps, we're going to decentralize it. That was the mission in 2016. Why? We want to change industries. We want to make sure that this middleman fee-based economy that takes so much of our money is eliminated and handed back to those creators, or that expertise that is middleman, consulting expertise and things like that is authenticated, actual, and is shared among the stakeholders. When you share among the stakeholders, you eliminate this huge negativity that's out there. Artists saying my stuff's getting stolen. Audios like fake Drake getting all of this presence without Drake offering permission. All of the things that we see. There's a documentary on CBC, Canadian Broadcast Corporation, called Big Music, that talks about how Spotify has made this huge amount of money but doesn't adequately distribute it among the artists, and so forth and so on. These fake artworks that need to be authenticated. I call that the origin of thought. So why did these super apps, let me say origin of thought, so that everybody who starts using blockchain, when they're starting to do their work, the AI blockchain at BlockCerts authenticates and proves it's ours. This is where it originated. That's the origin of thought. These super apps were created in Asia first because of this. Why? North America and Western world was a rich country, or rich countries. So when the internet came out, we were all on computers and laptops, and we could afford them. And that's how the world emerged. But in the rest of the world, the introduction of internet technology and connectivity came through mobile. So centralized companies that recognized the power of mobile and integrating all this together in that part of the world, they were centralized, but they went mobile first. In the centralized desktop, laptop world, mobile didn't really start until the iPod turned into the iPhone and the App Store. That kicked it off. And that was late in the game, relatively speaking. That was about 2006, 2007, 2008. But what was going on in this side of the world? In 2008, the economics were crashing everywhere. That was the Great Recession. And Apple was sneaking in there and doing this. I remember when Google was first developing the Android operating system for mobile. Microsoft missed the boat on that. Not to miss the boat now, though, because they, in 2016, were backing OpenAI, ChatGPT, and Microsoft. That could all be one block on this chart. Microsoft has invested $13.5 billion in the OpenAI initiative, and I have no idea how much more in embedding all of that in their Microsoft platform. So think about this for a moment. The entire world has now been cataloged, categorized, and organized around all of this data, whether it's on the mobile super apps and all of the stuff over in Asia or in the United States. The entire world's data has been organized. There's been $40 billion roughly invested in AI in 2023. Think about that too. That's after the crash of FTX, the crypto market. That's after the crash of Silicon Valley Bank, 200 billion, largest crash in the history. All of this money has been invested, and today there's about $40 billion worth of class action suits claiming copyright infringement and AI infringement. I'm sorry, AI's infringement on our rights. That's mission authenticated intelligence. That's what we started out to do way back in 2016, saying, own your internet, own your data. So with that, let me go to what Maya is and how we do that. I just mentioned that Microsoft and many of these companies are under lawsuits for stealing data. Well, there's a lot of concern about AI, and frankly, there should be. If we leave it all centralized, if we let these companies do what's already been done and don't look back. I mean, I had a driving instructor in high school. His name was Mr. Cosgrove. We called him Cos. And Cos always said, he had this very deep voice. He was also our football coach. And he said, 90-10, gentlemen, 90-10, which meant 90% forward, 10% back. Look over your shoulder. And we had the best time learning from Cos. And I've taken that education through my entire life. 10%, oh, that's what's happening. 90%, what am I going to do going forward? The entire world has been cataloged by AI, except at BlockCerts. We contributed nothing, zero, to GitHub, which is the open source system. Why? Microsoft owns it. $7.5 billion acquisition in, I can't remember when it was, 2016, 2017. Look it up. Check my facts on Google. It's amazing for that. Love the Google guys for most of the stuff they do. The idea being we've put this secure virtual space technology around us. And way back in 2010, 2011, I wrote a patent on that. It was granted in 2015. It took me 5 years to get the patent. And with the patent, I set out to build this for you. So I changed my title this year to CDO, Chief Decentralization Officer, is to give this all the way to the world. We need to get it out there. Why? Here's what we want to do. Spotify boss will not ban AI music, okay? Well, let's ask Maya what that article is about. This is a little demo on Maya. And by the way, we're going to show you how you can do this with anything that you have. I don't care if it's a business or a piece of music or an album or what have you. This whole infrastructure is just giving you a demo. So if I click more with Maya down here, it's going to summarize my article for me. And then I'm going to say, well, that's cool. That gave me a summarization. And how do I solve that with this NFTCERTin solution, Maya? So what I'm doing without having to tell anybody, myself, is I'm analyzing what's going on in the industry. And here's that private edge, an idea and competitive advantage. You thought it's gone forever. Look at this. Microsoft embedded AI in all of its Windows operating system 11. If you use it, I do. I don't use Windows 11. I use Windows 10. If you use Windows 11, every time you send an email, every time you save to OneDrive, every time you do that, it's AI analyzed. Now, assuming you can trust Microsoft with your data, and that's a big assumption, it's a big assumption for any company, then you're fine. But if you don't want that idea instantly categorized, that new idea, that secret thing that you shared with somebody, your closest friend by email, it's already there. It's already gone the minute you do that. Not on BlockCerts AI. How does BlockCerts AI solution work? And Maya will tell you how it works. It's in those knowledge blocks. Even we won't be able to access your knowledge blocks because we do not have your private keys that relate to how you set up this privacy. And at various levels, organizations or individuals can take this data and make it their business, like the 29-year studying professor at MIT, who, by the way, studied solely big business, banking. Banking is one of the main examples in the book. Why? Well, guess what? These giant $100 million structures look like what I just showed you about a super app. They all own super apps. They all own super platforms. They're just not giving them to us. So Tara, thank you for jumping in. I'm going to take a break and ask everybody to look at the chat and give us some feedback. And one of those pieces of information that you can give us is what Tara just asked. What kind of news would you like to see in Maya Reporter? Or would you be interested in putting your own information up there, your own content up there, your own things, and having Maya learn about it on your terms, and then you teach Maya the answers you want it to give? If you do that in ChatGPT, everybody else has it instantly. It's called OpenAI for a reason. This is private AI. And it's my belief that every person, if you want to keep AI from being scary, have AI on your side, not working against you. Let's talk about data as everyone's business. How do I know this is going to work? In the book, there's BBVA Bank, and they have 130,000 employees. Do you know what they taught their employees first? What AI is. Not to program it, just what it is, how it works. 130,000. They attribute their data management to a 10% greater return on revenue. But it's not just about data. It's about the infrastructure that surrounds that data. It's about the software. Here's the secret that SaaS companies in Silicon Valley never wanted you to know. Cloud was a trap. If they could get you to use cloud and put your data in, and they controlled all that data and all the software, even with data privacy laws and saying, give me back my data, and you can ask any data scientist this, your data is pretty worthless without the software, and you don't own it. You don't have access to it. You don't have control over it. It was a trap. It was a giant trap. And it still exists today. Every time you click, you're giving it up. We're trying to say, okay, that's fine. Some of it, who cares? Honestly, who cares? In fact, it's so convenient to have Google or Amazon or some of these organizations, the way they're structured, help us and help find things we maybe didn't know about or were looking for. But convenience is also a trap. We can't even begin at this point yet to compete with how much money is invested in making your life convenient, so you stay involved in that model of dumping your data in. So here's my proposition to you. Do most of your work there. Do everything that's important in a secure virtual space like we've created at BlockCerts. Everything that's important to you, keep it private, because that is where your future and the internet future should be. Okay? So when we go, you've now seen a quick demo of Maya. We can analyze anything. Game of Thrones, let's look at that one and see if we get it. Yeah, Game of Thrones, US authors sued Game of Thrones. What if you don't have the money to sue for your copyright? Or who are you suing? Think about that for a moment. Look at the top of this article. Microsoft says it'll take the heat if Copilot AI commercial users get sued. That means we had a raft of attorneys. Just bring it on. It'll be in court for years. Use our stuff. That's convenient, right? Is that really where society should go? I don't think so. That's not where BlockCerts is going. That's not where we're taking people who care about their ideas and their privacy. So when we get into that, don't take it from me, take it from MIT. Data is everyone's business. 29 years, I think it was Professor Barbara Wixom, who did this with Cynthia and Leslie Owens. And here's a few little snippets out of that and things you need to understand. Companies this incredibly bright group of people investigated, have deep pockets. They have deep systems. They have access to consultants and the ability to take losses as they're trying to get gains. We as individuals or small businesses don't have that ability. We need to move fast. BlockCerts was started with literally 2 people, both of who are still on this call. Myself and James Grant, who's worked with me side by side, team member number 1 for 27 years. So this is a long time. Thank you, James. And we talk to each other every day, every night, 2 o'clock in the morning, and we have forever. James is my brother and my friend and my colleague and, my mentor. In many ways, we support each other so much. And we looked at this years ago and said, we can do better. And our whole mission has been to do better. We've done it with literally thousands of small companies. This wasn't made up out of our heads. This is thousands and thousands of small companies. We've been through multiple billion-dollar revenue streams that have gone through the BlockCerts, previous BlockCerts platforms or iterations of it. We've been through hell, up and down roller coasters, and we built it because we believed in every business that had a business model and idea, and we could help. And we have done that over and over and over again. The cool thing today, the thing that's so powerful today, is we have all of this deep system technology that we can flip a switch on and give it to just about anybody in the world at any level. The other thing about these companies that were behind this study is that they said, well, the individuals are a target. This is how we're going to increase revenue. Guess what? That makes you the asset. That makes you the target. That makes all of us the target. And when I wrote my first patent, I realized that. And I wanted out. I wanted off. I wanted independence. So today, BlockCerts is independent. It's the only funding is from grants through the Canadian government. We could not have made that. Interestingly enough, Microsoft did give us a big grant in 2016. No strings attached. Who's not going to take that? And our BCERT member community. As we grow that BCERT member community, it continues its independence and it becomes more and more independent. This is what you want to create for your next internet. And I can't stress that enough. I don't know. People always say, well, there's always a competitor. I don't know of one. I don't know of anybody else who's crazy enough or has spent the time to do this. What we saw in crypto, for example, is that ability to create this massive amount of fast cash grab. And that's what most people want. Again, isn't that convenient? Isn't it convenient to throw some money in and take out a big profit? What happens if you don't get out? I think Sam Bankman-Fried is on trial today for the $40 billion loss and how many years in prison he'll spend with selling decentralization and crypto and some mythical something good for humanity that didn't actually exist. At BlockCerts, this actually exists. And that was mission authenticated intelligence for AI. So getting to the next part of this, the ORBITi browser. How tough is it to get going? Download this browser. Now, you won't know necessarily everything you can do with it, but when you click on that and you get to a download page and you put in your email ID and your mobile phone, you're on a journey with as simple a thing as a browser download. What our team is putting together is amazing. What they already have is amazing. You can, from that browser, start one of these meetings for free. Let me tell you about a meeting on BlockCerts. It's not centralized by Zoom like I showed you on the Maya newsletter. It's decentralized. Our incredible IT team, led by Jules, created a thing called IPFS, which is encryption on the back end. We can't watch your videos, but you know what we can do now? We can take those videos, you can take those videos and ask Maya, let's say you didn't make it to a meeting. Transcribe the meeting that Jules and James and Tim and Andrew had and tell me the key points. Just like we did in that newsletter, Maya can do it for you. Oh, that's interesting. Maya, can you take me to that section of the video or of the meeting? I'm sorry, Tim, I can't do that. You don't have authorization. Or, sure, Tim, or using MultiSig, you saw that on the page, or, Tim, let me ask Jules and James if that's okay. That's what it means to have authenticated intelligence. And that's what our team has built and provided to you. So go ahead, download that. Better yet, that's the free version. That's the version that we're paying for. And believe me, it's expensive to do this. It's been incredibly difficult in 2023 for us to do this. Why? Because everything blew up. Everybody stopped and froze in their tracks, including the big funding, except in AI. But we're not funded by any of that. We're funded by you. We're funded by BCERT token holders. So if you really want to support this mission, go ahead and get a BCERT token. Go on Telegram, there's a link there, or go on token.blockcerts.com. There's a link there, and get one. It's $10. Actually, right now, I didn't know that, James. Right now, it's 2 for 1. It's $5. So instead of going and buying Starbucks, go get a token. And you know what? You're on a journey. You don't know what to do with it? Who cares? People didn't know what to do with Bitcoin in 2008, 2010. How many people, hey, let's do this one. Thumbs up, let's go in the chat and ask this. How many people wish they would have had 100 Bitcoin from 2013 when I started on this? I cannot tell you where BlockCerts is going to be 20 years from now, 10 years from now, 5 years from now, 3 years from now. I basically have to tell you this. 3 years ago, 5 years ago, I wasn't sure we could pull all this off, and some of it we hadn't even thought about. Look where we are today. The only deep embedded AI blockchain that can change, like that one, that can change the way businesses are structured. Big industries are structured. And why? Remember I said in that book, data is everyone's business? Here's why it can change. If that's true, and you're the people, we're the people putting in the data, and we control the data, can't we change the business? How many people think we can change the business of the internet? BlockCerts is. You saw how this internet evolved and split into these factions, but still controlled by centralized. How many people, if we put out another webinar, would like to deep dive into actually seeing this work and having me show you and us show you how we work on this every single day? So that the poll is up, I think. Is it up, Tara?
Yep, it's in your chat box. Just go to the polls, which is kind of
go to polls, and let's see how many people would like to have a deep dive in the near future that shows more about the actual technology about BlockCerts, and how many of you would like to spend that time to do that. Give us a yes or no, and we'll put that together. I promise we will. So if we'll just take a minute and let's see if we can get a count of what that looks like over the next, say, 60 seconds. So go, and please respond. So far, I see we've got 100%, right? We have no no's. So that means, team, we got to go to work. We need to put this together. Let me just summarize with a few things about how the world pulled this off, this OpenAI, data intelligence, how they got it all going. And I'll just end with a little story about my history traveling around the world. I've been around the world 4 times. We've built this amazing team all over the world. And during those travels and working with some of the biggest companies in the technology industry, Oracle, Microsoft, to a lesser degree, Google, but I've been in Google's campuses and things like that. Silicon Valley, and all overseas, what I saw is these things called incubators. And actually in 2016, we were in Microsoft downtown Manhattan and did a hackathon, actually me and Peter. And here's what happened. These incubators were put together. You read this in the book. And what the big organizations did is the banks saw these fintechs getting a lot of traction, very successfully getting traction. So what they did is they took all of that and they started embedding that knowledge into their platform, sometimes paying for it, sometimes not. So they got this huge amount of information. It was like these ecosystems in these labs, and you saw these brilliant people. I was in so many of them. I even spent a year in Boston at the MIT sponsored one in Cambridge Square. Myself, I commuted back and forth, and brilliant people, but the small businesses weren't credited. Very much like artists today, very much like music industry today. That's where the open source movement came from. And one of the largest harvesters of open source software in the world is Amazon. Some of the databases they run, it's all running on open source, okay? So what the problem with that is you're taking people's passion and you're not giving them a reward back for it. You're taking those passions and you're creating this ecosystem that's very closely or tightly controlled by centralized authorities, shareholders, and people who are really, really good at business, good at monetizing, good at things like that. So this idea of a decentralized web does not in any way, shape, or form say we shouldn't have anything centralized. We shouldn't make profits. What it says is we should have a more equitable access and a greater opportunity and ability for people to participate. That's why at BlockCerts, every single person that's ever touched this platform, not just the people who have bought BCERT tokens, but the people who are building it are some of the biggest BCERT token holders out there. Everybody earns BCERT tokens. Everybody on the BlockCerts team has a vault and a wallet, and everybody's part of big pools to participate because that's the way it should be. Stakeholders should benefit. Creators should benefit. People who patronize your fans, your customers, your clients should benefit along with you, not in spite of you or not at your expense. So BlockCerts' mission is to do that, to decentralize, to create this big opportunity. And so I'm going to end there. I'm going to open it up to a few questions. That's not true. From our generation, we created some amazing things to hand off. We created these things. We created these. And these devices could be so powerful in the right hands. The data can be so powerful in the right hands. The ideas can be generated in the right hands. Creators can be rewarded, and we can have this whole next generation do it differently, iteratively, on top of the good things we created, and we can start knocking out some of those things we missed along the way. Profit's not bad. The semi-autonomous organization, because organizations are about people. It's what we do in society. We support each other, and that's what it's about. We're talking about work freedom out there. That became so apparent in COVID and lockdowns. And look at the world today. Look at what they want. Guess what? Banks, when that happened, were literally sending people to the offices, bringing desktop computers home and struggling to put in the infrastructure. That's that 53-year-old infrastructure that people are still buying and paying giant license fees for. We can change that. We don't have to use that anymore. We built an entire contained cloud, blockchain-based Web 4.0 that you can literally run from your laptop or from a tiny device that we're working on that looks like this. And you can put it in your pocket, your cloud in your pocket. Now, if you can do that, Think about how that changes the world. Michael, where do you go buy a BCERT token? You can do it in two places right now. You can go get a BCERT token at token.blockcerts.com. You can also just join our Telegram channel and ask Maiaichat _bot. If you just type in @Maia, it'll pop up, and click it and say, Maia, ask it a question. What is BlockCerts? And at the bottom, there's a link to buy BCERT tokens or buy ink. And I'll give you guys all a hint. Buy the one token, because buying ink is $15 and buying one token is 10. So you make a lot of money by not doing the a la carte thing. But you can buy just a little bit of ink and run this thing if you'd like. So what I suggest, go to blockcerts.com, download ORBITi. Go to either token.blockcerts.com and get a token. Just, if you don't have one, get one. What? Get more. Maybe I'm right. If I'm wrong, you gave up Starbucks for a day. Get in touch. We will be talking about things like what we're doing with incredible one-of-a-kind art, what we're doing with incredible one-of-a-kind music, what we're doing with changing industries as old as insurance and as innovative as saving the environment by getting rid of all the lies in energy or greenwashing, they call it, and a company that's doing that. We work with innovators. We work with people who want to leave a better world to that next generation. And I'm talking about that with Soph and on The World From Here every couple of weeks, maybe every week, I don't know. She's in school, so we're doing as much as we can to explore this from the perspective of those of us that need to leave a better world. Exciting journey. BlockCerts AI Blockchain with Maia, deeply embedded, to make sure that we, us carbon-based beings, are in charge of and also have empowered by silicon-based beings that are emerging at an incredible light speed, and that those beings are not coded against us, but we're coding for us. Thank you, everybody.